The biggest story, no doubt, the fallout from Bondi, the calls for a royal commission and changes to firearms legislation. Andrew Wallace is the Shadow Attorney-General. Shadow Attorney-General, good morning to you. What's the opposition looking at, and what's the opposition so critical of the government in its handling?
Well, good morning, Jono and Casey, and good morning to your listeners. Look, we're in a situation where the Prime Minister is continuing to push back on a federal royal commission that would investigate the causes behind failings of all government departments or across all jurisdictions in relation to the rise of antisemitism in this country, which culminated in the terrorist attack in Bondi, the worst terrorist attack in Australian history. Now, it just beggars belief that the Prime Minister of this country would not want to use the preeminent form of inquiry to look at how and why this happened. The coalition has drafted a terms of reference, a very, very detailed terms of reference for a federal royal commission, which would look at the background of the rise of anti-Semitism since the 7th of October 2023 in particular. It would look at any failings or any learnings we can make from a law enforcement perspective, from a national intelligence perspective, and the interactions between those organisations. It would look at immigration, things like do we need to reform our visa system? Do we need to reform the ability of the reviews of those visa systems and our citizenship? We need to look at our education sector and how our cultural and art sector may have been involved in the rise of anti-Semitism and in fact has been impacted by anti-Semitism. It's very broad, I accept that, but this is the worst terrorist attack on Australian soil, and we owe it to the families of the 15 people who were killed and the 41 people who were hospitalised to get to the bottom of why this happened, who knew what and when, and we owe it to them. Now, we want to see a situation where there are no jurisdictional impediments. It would involve all state and territory governments and all their departments and agencies, and of course.
And Andrew Wallace, obviously there's a lot of interest in looking at anti-Semitism and those visa applications as well. As Shadow Attorney-General, your perspective, there's obviously been a lot of discussion on gun reform, both at state levels and federally as well. There's been a lot of criticism that the push and the idea of changing gun reforms is being rushed through. The Coalition's thoughts on that?
Well, essentially the reforms that the New South Wales Parliament is trying to push through are matters for the New South Wales Parliament rather than the federal government. But I think there are learnings for us at a federal level because I think that there has been an instance where weapons have been introduced into this country under the guise of them being legal. So I think that there needs to be an examination of whether we need to tighten the importation of certain weapons. But this goes to my point, Casey, that only a federal royal commission can look at all of these things rather than a piecemeal approach. And I listened to the Prime Minister yesterday say, we don't want a state royal commission and then the Prime Minister's inquiry into national intelligence and a federal royal commission. No, that's not what we're asking for. The federal opposition is calling for one federal royal commission that encapsulates all of these things. We understand, Andrew. We appreciate your time this morning. We must move on, but the Shadow Attorney-General, Andrew Wallace, we appreciate your time. A political debate that will continue right across the Christmas period, and look, the opposition's strong in their stance, and rightly so, and I think a lot of people
standing on the side of the opposition when it comes to this, and it's going to definitely affect the way that we look at polling that comes in the new year. I think we're definitely going to see a major swing towards not only the coalition, but also potentially One Nation and those other parties which I think more and more people are aligning with.
Authorised by Andrew Wallace, LNP, Boccarina, Queensland.